YouTube, this is Mr. Sasuke Dragon, and this is another episode of Why Is It Banned? This episode we're going to be talking about Pot of Greed. Draw 2 cards from your deck. Why is this card banned? There are no restrictions to it. This card got abused continuously. Goes to the graveyard, bring it back to your hand. Goes to the graveyard, bring it back to your hand. There is no limitations at all. You don't have to pay life points. You don't have to discard. You don't have to do anything at all. You just play the card and draw 2. So it's basically a plus. You don't have to do anything. Pot of Greed just sits there. Christy, I activate Pot of Greed. Draw 2 cards. Interesting. I set these cards face down. End. There was really no way of this card had any limitations to it. This card was basically just used continuously, and because there was loops out there, it would go to the graveyard and it would come back, as I said. And eventually the opponent really didn't do much at all. It was like draw, draw, draw. It was extra draw power. I mean, of course, since then they brought out different types of Pot of Greed. I mean, like the newest one, Shard of Greed, which is quite interesting because you have to have 2 draw phases before you draw 2 cards, where it has a limitation, so you can't just activate straight away and draw 2 cards. Personally, I don't really see Pot of Greed coming off the ban list. It was banned for the reason of there are no limitations to it, and it's spammable. That's basically it. It's got no drawback. It's a good picture, but it's just too powerful, really. I mean, I'm even personally saying myself, I used to spam that card. I could draw 4 cards in a turn, and that was it. It was just silly. Really, really silly. And a lot of people were saying to me, well, this card should come back. And I say to them personally, this card shouldn't come back because it's got loads of limitations on it. You draw 2 cards, and that's it. You just draw 2 cards. I mean, back in the old formats, yeah, you know, it really did help out. But because of nowadays, of mass special summoning, this card would really benefit a lot of people that want to just go off in one turn. You can't really shut it down, really. So this card for me personally will stay on the ban list. There's not really much to say about Pot of Greed because it's just a ridiculous card. Yes, back in the old school days when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot more, this card was easier to use because there wasn't no such thing as mass special summon. It was summon a monster, set a back row, end. So Pot of Greed was a kind of an engine, if you like, just to like boost the game up a tiny bit. But now in this format, it would just make the game broken. A lot of people stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! If Pot of Greed actually did come back. But I'd like to know what you think. Do you think Pot of Greed should come back? Why should Pot of Greed stay on the ban list? And I thought for you all, if Pot of Greed did come back, what would happen to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!